What's up, guys? I'm about to share with you 3 major key points to meeting your objective, to living your dream life. And for me, I found there is really 3 main things to make sure you accomplish that. When you find the right tool, when you find the right vehicle to get you to wealth, a lot of people have developed a belief that that will solve all the challenges. And I found that regardless of what vehicle you choose, what business you use to get you to where you want to go to create the income of your dreams, the life of your dreams, there's 3 major points in every business that really determine whether or not you're going to be a massive success. Step 1 is to start with the end in mind. When you start a business, when you start a venture, when you start a side hustle, when you venture out, for people working a 9-to-5 job, maybe you're working a 9-to-5, maybe you're working already as a solopreneur, and it's sucking up your life, and you say, I want to do something that gives me my time back, my money back, whatever it is. Start with the end in mind. Take a few moments. Don't over-prepare. There's no reason to, because nothing will go as you plan it to anyway, except it's important to have a plan, to have an idea of where you want this to go. For example, a lot of my students that I work with in real estate, I say, write down what you want this business to accomplish for you. Start with the end in mind. Do you want cash flow? For some people, it's more important that I have a $10,000 or $20,000 check as soon as possible. Whereas for some others, it's not so much about 10 or 20 grand as soon as possible. It's about having 5,000, 20,000, 50,000 a month coming in passively. So start with the end in mind. What do I want this thing, this vehicle? Because that's what it is. Real estate's not the end all. A business ain't the end all. A business, a real estate, whatever it is that you've chose, crypto, day trading, whatever it is that you chose, whatever business, it is a vehicle which to get you to the desired objective. So start with the end in mind. Decide what it is you want to accomplish. Number 2, after you have written out the numbers as to what you want this thing to accomplish for you, chunk it down. So, in other words, I'm going to give you real estate examples because that's what I know best. If someone comes to me and says, my objective is to make $20,000 in the next 45 days, I am naturally going to tell them, well, wholesaling is the best way to go get a fast check. If somebody, though, comes to me and says, I want to build wealth and I want to own properties with no management, no headache, well, I'm going to give them a blueprint. I'm going to give them pointers to buy houses on owner financing and sell on lease option. So you get to get some upfront money, some middle-end money, some back-end money. You don't have to be a landlord. If somebody comes to me, though, and says, I want $10,000 a month ASAP, I'm probably going to say, well, from my experience, short-term rentals is going to be your best bet. That's what I mean by chunk it down. So let's do the math. Let's say that someone wants $10,000 a month passive, mostly passive income. And if that's the important part to them, I would say, okay, let's say an average Airbnb short-term rental makes you $2,000. Do the math. You can say 1,000. Name your number. Let's say an average Airbnb, a short-term rental, makes you $2,000 net. If that's the case, I need 5 Airbnbs to get me to $10,000 a month. See, I'm chunking that down. So if I know that I need to put in, 50 calls to buy an Airbnb, I know I need to do 250 calls to buy 5 Airbnbs. So I just chunked down my $10,000 a month of income to buying 5 Airbnbs to doing 50 calls to buy one. That means 250 calls. I buy 5 Airbnbs. So how long do I want it to take for me to buy them? Let's say 5 months. That's 50 calls a month divided by 30 days in a month. Say you take the weekends off, chunk it down. So 50 calls a month. If you want to call 25 days a month, that's 2 calls per day. 2 calls per day, 50 calls per deal, 5 deals in 5 months. That's how I chunked down the math. So now it's no longer, oh my gosh, where do I start to buy my 5 Airbnbs, or where do I start to make 10 grand a month? It's now, tomorrow, today, I got to make 2 calls. Tomorrow, I got to make 2 calls. Now, of course, we get into, in some other videos, I get into exactly where to find these people and what to say to them and all of that. The point is, regardless of what business you're in, start with the end in mind, decide what you want it to accomplish for you, and then chunk it down. Now, thirdly, and most importantly, momentum is key. It's the most underrated tool in all of human history, I am convinced. Momentum, there's something so special about it. That is taking a daily action step toward your objective. So many times we have an idea, we have a plan, we have a thought, and we don't know where to start, and so we don't. It's easier to not start. Except in 3 months, we look back and we're in the same place. In 6 months, and 12 months. 3 years later, you see other people who have greatly surpassed you, who had the same idea at the same time, except they started. Yet, here we sit where we always were. Daily action steps toward your objective is key to accomplishing any goal. I would much rather be known to have tried and failed than to have never tried in the first place. And you never know. If you try it, you might just succeed. And so I want to remind you that the difference between a failure and a success is the success got up one more time than they fell down. That's the only difference. And so I remind you of that because so many times it's easy to get caught up in our own heads and our fear and our lack of knowing and our fear of the unknown. What if this happens, or I'm not sure where to go from here? And there is so many places, guys, we live in such a cool time to be able to go on the internet and search up anything, find groups, find Facebook groups, find meetups, find people who are doing what we do, be able to go to seminars, to buy courses, to hire mentors, to be able to surround ourselves by amazing people who are ahead of us, headed to where we're going. And that's a very special opportunity. Those are 3 major keys to getting to where you want to go. When you begin to implement those 3 keys, everything else